Hi guys, it's Mike from Cman Game here, bringing you a deck list / analysis of my Nova Grappler deck. This is pre-box 4, so don't be too judgmental if you watch it after. But yeah, this deck has been, I've been working on it quite a while, and yeah, it's been pretty successful, to be honest. So yeah, I've got Aaron with me.
Hi guys.
Yeah, so he can...
just helping him out in case he misses stuff.
It's more so to play off of, because it's boring hearing someone with a droony voice just talk about things. See, I know how entertaining my voice can be. So yeah, I'll just start going through it, and afterwards I'll talk about any further options that Novas have and why I chose not to use them, etc, etc. Obviously I won't be going on too long about effects. I'll just briefly mention them because, as I can tell from the majority of the viewers, you probably know what they do anyway. Right, so the camera? Okay. I started with White Tiger. Now, White Tiger is your 5k, counterblast 1, goes into the soul to restart a beast deity. Its main use is because it's the only Vanguard which can move back to the booster, and you don't have to send it back, i.e. the stand triggers of Battle Riser and whatnot. 5k, I stress this unbelievably, 5k is all you need behind the Vanguard. You have 11k Vanguards, even if they ride it at 16, it's hitting at what you want. So I highly recommend... For now, obviously, using White Tiger. Obviously, I stick with the 4 heals. I have even experimented with less heals before, as I hate them so much, but that's
your own personal...
Yeah, that's my first thing, but unfortunately, sometimes you need to heal. It wins games. I run quite a lot of crits. I run 10 crit. 8 crits, sorry. 10 crits not available. I would if I could. And I run 4 draw. Now, trigger lineup. As you can see, I don't run any stand. Stand triggers... because of my grade 2 lineup, they're all 9Ks and whatnot, because I don't, except for King of Sword. Yeah, because I don't run Genocide Jack, and I'll get to that later. Personally, I prefer attacking with the... my attack order I'll go through later as well, so there's nothing we talk about it yet. But yeah, I don't run stand triggers because of personal preference on attack order, and the fact that I don't have any high attack powers worth restanding part of the grade 3s. Grade 1 lineup, you got 4 Tough Boy, 4 Perfect Guards, 4 Death Army, and 2 Dance Smash Shout. This is pretty much what everyone runs in Nova Grapplers. They might not use Shout and use Claydol Mechanic instead, but I prefer the consistency. 8k is always needed, it's an aggressive build. 4 Perfect Guards, some people use 3, but if you were to use 3, a lot of people tend to chuck in another Shout or Claydol. And Death Army is obviously
the
best grade 1 available. I've managed to get someone to 4 damage before, simply because of Death Army, Vanguard, checking the grade 3.
Which is your favourite setup? Yeah,
my favourite setup, because I like my grade 1 rush. Even tempted by the deck, but we won't go there. Yeah, and Shout's obviously a nice grade 1 ride, but
especially on your first turn.
Yeah, but you wouldn't want to sacrifice your Tough Boys or anything like that to up them.
It's more to get rid of those unwanted draw triggers, I take it.
Yeah, just a bit of consistency here and there. You don't always get what you need. But yeah, it's just worth chucking at the back. Grade 2 lineup. This is where it gets slightly more interesting. 4 Death Army Lady, 4 Kirara, and 3 King of Sword, which has an ultimate glare on it. I just looked at the camera, so I shall move it over there. And not camera. Right. This deck doesn't counterblast at all par Kirara. This card no one uses. People prefer Genocide Jack or to run them at a very low level. My the reason I run this ratio is because optimally, I'll move it back in the glare, why not? Optimally, you want King of Sword as your Vanguard. It's the hardest thing to get over. You want Death Army in your rear guard and Carrara the other side.
That's for your grade 2 ride, though, isn't it?
Yeah. If you have Azura Kaiser as your Vanguard, whether you have Death Army Lady or Guy in that left column, you will stand the entire column. That is the ideal thing. I run 4 of them because I need one or the other there. Yeah, so you attack with that column first, then you attack with the Vanguard, obviously with your nice 16, whatever you need to get to, and always add the power to Carrara. People fear it hitting. The Nova Grappler's biggest flaw is the fact they don't have any hand advantage, and they struggle to get field presence out. You can counter that with Carrara. Genocide Jack is more of a stand trigger build and things like that, so I don't advise it. Obviously, 4 of each of the grade 3 Ashura Kaiser and Azura Dragon, simply because it's an 11k wall. It gets people by surprise. It's obviously you want Kaiser as your main Vanguard, and you can always set off a cheeky White Tiger with Azura Dragon, and even get Azura Dragon's effect off if you're lucky. But you're mainly just having 11k wall. So yeah. Is there anything else that I've missed?
But I don't believe there is. You've talked about your deck. Talked about triggers, set up, grade 3s. I guess the only other thing now is
to go through why I don't use things, I guess.
Yes.
Okay, so...
Right, so there's your deck. Let's start with the grade 3s.
Yes. Right, grade 3 wise. Obviously, don't run that.
I wouldn't say obviously.
Okay,
it's Muscle Hercules.
Muscle Hercules.
It's the same as Claydol Mechanic.
But basically, I give myself as many options as I can, so I collect them even though I don't use them, and things like that. I'd like to have 4 of everything, for collection purposes as well as giving myself options. But Muscle Hercules, you play it, and like Hungry Dumpty and things like that, and Claydol, you flip up damage when it's called. The only deck I see it in is Gold Root Soul. It isn't even out yet. It's a damage flipping deck. And it's only 10k.
Personally, even then, I wouldn't say that. Because
yeah.
Gold Rutal does that on his own.
I'm trying to give it a bit of slack, but I'm not running it because it's not because the 11k. I can say that about every one of these cards, really.
Personally, it's 10k.
Yeah.
If it was 11, I could consider it. But even then, it's a bit. What do you use it in? I mean, it's possible it could be good in set 4 when Blaugruger comes out, because he's a counterblast Vanguard.
Yeah, actually, there is one card I don't have, Lion Heat. It's the only card I have not got any of.
That's another deck. It could go with that.
Yeah, but it's really cheap, but I just don't have the urge to go out my way to get it just yet.
It's the whole 10k. It's like
it's 10k. It's not really going to hit, but then again, I said the same thing about Carrara, and Carrara I'd prefer getting all the power anyway. I'd never like to ride it. Yeah, so next, the reason I got into the deck, Mr. Invincible. We've got to love that card. It's the whole kind of it's the Mega Blaster stand everything when it hits as a rearguard or Vanguard. Soul Charge 1 and flip up damage is its main use. Again, it's in a damage manipulation deck. It keeps Genocide Jack alive and things like that.
Well, good. Again, another gripe with it. It does not get the plus 2k that most other Mega Blasters give.
Yeah. I've seen an interesting deck with what are they called? What's the card plus 2? Stop things from restanding.
Mega Colony.
Mega Colony. Then I was thinking that, but I just didn't. Need to confirm it before I read it for myself even more. Yeah. So Mega Colony seemed like an interesting combination with undamaged flipping I found, and it would be interesting for me to make, but again, I'd rather focus on a pure build. But I only say that because Novas don't really have much to work with in terms of counterblasting. You have Genocide Jack and Carrara and things like that, but you don't really have much more to work with. But yeah, Then you've got Cosmo Lord. Now, Cosmo Lord will become awesome. I do prefer this currently over, from what I've heard people talk about,
it depends
over Death Army Cosmo Lord. Cosmo Lord is a Vanguard. The idea is you rest a unit and add 3,000 to it. It breaks barriers, being the point.
What some people prefer is
if you have
they're looking ahead at the Death Army Cosmo Lord.
Yeah.
Death Army Cosmo Lord can rest 2 to gain 5.
Yep, and a crit whenever he stands 4 or more with its second effect.
That effect is limit break only, is it? Or is it the resting that is? No, it's the restanding that's
which is nice to use. The idea is you can use it early to get the crit if you use the grade 1, etc. to restand the units, and you're still restanding units in that turn, so you can still get the crit as far as I'm aware. But yeah, Cosmo Lord I actually have tried to make a build of it, but it is difficult to get going because you don't have many restanding abilities, if any, at the moment.
To be honest, any real combo, I guess you could say, you could do with it is just rest 1 unit and just have a tough boy behind it.
Yeah, that's exactly what
21, but even then, is it worth it? Most of the time, it's probably not.
Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth, really. Exactly it. And the last grade 3...
Mower!
Mower! Got another Mower. Some Mower.
One of the 12k beaters.
Yes, it's kind of a 12k beater because it's the one that requires to be boosted, hence the common print of it. But I've seen people run it because they don't want to run 11k walls. They hate having 11k as a rear guard because they see it's pointless. But
I don't think it's because of that.
It's currently the only playable card out of these that, well, not playable, the only one people like playing out of these in a Nova build. Yeah, I mean, it hits 20, it's nice, but again, Novas struggle with field presence, and, restanding, it's not going to restand for, the 16 we like, it's going to restand for the 15. It's not going to have the searching capabilities to find the tough boy, and it's just very combo orientated, so yes.
Right, this is going on quite longer than I thought it'd be, so you're probably going to have to cut this into 2 parts, guys.
Alright.
Grade 2s, guys, grade 2s.
Grade 2s, you've got Honey. Honey is, again, a combo-orientated card that I tried to test with because I thought a cheeky restand, people won't want to guard it. But its main issue is you need field presence, and Novas struggle with field presence, end of. You've got the 10k Interceptor. Quite a rather playable card, to be honest. I've seen it played quite a lot, but you don't need to play it if you have more than the normal 10 grade 2s. You need more, so you can just splash one in and go, oh, it's in my hand. I've got a 7 or 8k behind it. It's fine.
Speaking of you saying 10 grade 2s, I did notice when you were laying it out, you actually run 11, and you run 1 less grade 1.
Yes, it commonly happens in Novas. Nova players find, because of the lack of field presence, it's better to have a card at the front rather than a card at the back.
So you've taken out 1 booster just to get that extra power.
Yeah, just to up the chances. Grade 2 is also the hardest one to find in terms of a ride, even though it's not grade 3, 8, you need one of them, you need more field presence at the front and whatnot. But yeah, it seems to work, and yeah, it's better.
No dragging it on. I think we're running out of time on our card here.
I don't care. Got a lot to say. Hungry Dumpty. Flips the damage up when it's called to the rearguard. Similar things to reasoning why you wouldn't use things like mechanic and whatnot, but...
Yes, but he's an interceptor. You have to bear this in mind. Interceptors always have an advantage when it comes to effects like this. Especially when it's something like that, it's 9k. It's a good card.
The infuriating thing about Novas is the grade 1 lineup makes itself, the grade 3 lineup makes itself. In the grade 2 lineup, you struggle to get everything in. I want to run 4 Death Armies, I want to run 4 Kirara or 4 Genocide Jack, depending on the build. And that leaves 3, and you can't use any, you don't want to be flipping up damage with them. You're on a 9k, you need, if you're lacking field presence, you need things with powerful units, so you need draw power, you need something. And Hungry Dumpty just doesn't fill that in.
Right, I think we're going to have to cut it there, guys. We'll just make a quick edit here, and then we'll switch over to a different video because our card's running out.